Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming to this break and sponsor session. We've got with us Mark Edwards from Charter Course. And Mark, I will turn it over to you.
All right. Thanks, John. So yeah, hi, everybody. My name is Mark Edwards. I'm affiliated with Charter Course, but I'm also a law professor. I'm a professor at Mitchell Hamlin in St. Paul, Minnesota, where I'm coming to you from today, where it is 91 according to my phone at the moment, which I was telling people in Minnesota, it's kind of like dog years when it comes to heat. For a Minnesotan, 91 is like 180. So
Oh, you're breaking up, Mark. And you're frozen right now. We are having our technical problems today, folks, so please be patient with us. Just gonna disconnect and reconnect, I hope. Mark's website is at chartacourse, that's CHARTA course.com. He's a fellow traveler in the alternate casebook space. His books, the books that he publishes are considerably cheaper than the ones from traditional publishers, not the $250 sort of range. And he's big. If I remember from demos I've seen of Charter Course, one of the big concepts is that you build concept maps, sort of like mind maps, or MindMeister or FreeMind, if you've ever heard of those tools. Build concept maps that you then hang the cases and the commentary off of. It's a very slick interface for reading. Yeah, thanks, Elma. I'm going to share my screen. I'm at his website right now, just in case he doesn't come back. I want to give him his full due, and I appreciate that that he's a sponsor. Oh, there you are, Mark. You're muted.
my goodness. Okay. Not a great way to begin. Sorry about that.
Right.
My connection has been very spotty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the camera off me and just share my screen with you. So I'm going to stop the video and I'm going to share my screen instead. And if you could tell me whether or not you're seeing the stuff that I'm hoping you're seeing, that'd be great. So what you should see now is the Charter Course homepage.
Yep, seeing the website.
Okay, great. Charter Course, for those of you who don't know, is a complete replacement for the traditional casebook and for other course materials. We're a group that is made up entirely of law professors. And we've been developing this technology and now using it for about 5 years. We're in about 35 different law schools now and used by about 80 different professors. And so I'll show you a little bit about what Charter Course is and why it is an advantage over traditional course materials. So let's see here. Hopefully the screen just switched. Charter course
Yes, it is.
takes, oh good. Charter course takes law school courses and formats them as concept maps. This is designed in part to remediate one of the problems with traditional casebooks, which is that the casebook is actually a very poor tool for teaching systems of thought and for teaching legal systems. What works much better is to take our courses, and I'll show you here that we created these maps so that when a student, for instance, this is a civil procedure chart. When the student is learning about the complaint, they know that it's part of the pleadings and challenges to them, which is part of civil procedure. And we're drawing a map for the students from the particular back to the general. And when we do that, you'll also notice that what popped up on the left over here is what we call our content card. And this contains all of the material about the complaint for our course. So you can see that there's a number of things called essentials, which are background readings. There are cases. You can see each icon with a gavel here is a case. And I'll just open one up to show you. You can see that's what it looks like. And the students can take notes and put highlights in, and they're saved for them, of course. And you can see that where there are highlights and notes, it's marked for the students. And in addition, we can have things like practice problems and guideposts and the rules themselves, as well as other things that I'll show you in just a moment. But one of the great things I think about Charter Course, one of the things that professors really appreciate is that it allows you to escape the straitjacket of the casebook, because what it allows you to do is to completely customize your course materials so that you get exactly what you want for your course. And I'll show you what I mean by that. This is, as I mentioned, a civil procedure chart. If a professor wanted to use Charter Course to teach civil procedure, they have a couple of choices. They can start from scratch and build their own civil procedure chart. And I'll show you how easy it is to do something like that in just a moment. Or they can start with a chart that we already have and customize it to fit their needs. When a professor adopts a chart, we put it in their name. So for instance, if I were to adopt civil procedure, it would be Edwards Civil Procedure. My students would be the only ones who see my chart. And it would be unique from every other chart as well, used by other Charter Course professors as I customized it. And then you can customize it in a whole bunch of different ways. But the important thing about it is that it has the opposite shelf life of a casebook, in that casebooks, when you adopt them, tend to become less and less useful over time. They're sort of obsolete from the moment they're published and getting more obsolete over time. Whereas with Charter Course, because you can customize the chart to fit your needs exactly, it's actually getting more useful to you over time, because over time, it better and better reflects your teaching. And I'll show you what I mean. For example, let's take a look at, I showed you already the case. We also have practice problems that can be built right into the chart. So for instance, here is a practice problem about a complaint, asking whether or not the complaint is sufficient under the federal rules. And if we want to, we can also provide an answer for the students by clicking on this. We can also use this as a quiz for the students, and their answers would be uploaded to you, and you're able to grade them, both formative and summative assessments. And in addition to our practice problems, and there are hundreds that are built into each chart, we have this neat tool called guideposts that we've created as well, which are interactive decision trees to help guide the students through the practice problems. So this guidepost is, does the complaint have the necessary components? And the first question we ask is, does it include a short and plain statement of the claim? If the answer is yes, we go one way and we get another question. Does it allege facts sufficient to make the claim plausible? Again, if we go yes, go one way. If we go no, we know that the complaint is inadequate. If we go yes, we get another question. And the students can use this, obviously, to train themselves to ask the right questions. Not only can they use it to train themselves to ask the right questions, but these can be built with the students as a means of synthesizing the cases. So after reading all of the cases and discussing them with regard to the law of complaints and the federal rules of civil procedure, we can say, okay, well, let's put it together. What are the questions we would need to answer to decide whether or not a complaint was adequate? And you can build them live in class with the students. And then they're immediately part of the chart and the students have it. In addition to the cases and the background readings and the practice problems and the guideposts, we also can put all of the supplemental material that you would expect to find necessary in a civil procedure course right into the chart. So here's rules 7 through 10, for example, and they're just built right in, and they can be internally linked. So for example, if we were to go up and read about the essentials for a jurisdictional basis for a complaint, Rule 8A1, we click on it, and there it is for the students to reference. The same happens with all the cases, and those can be internal links or external links. They both work just the same. And I'll show you a little bit about what it's like to customize your chart. Let's say, for example, that you adopted civil procedure and you decided that you didn't want to use this complaint drafting exercise. And moreover, you wanted to add a little bit of material that isn't here, right? So all we would have to do is go to this where it says edit node right here. I click on it and it'll take us to the background view that only the professors can see. It's the same structure that we had seen on the other side, the student view, but this allows us to edit. So for example, let's say you didn't want that complaint drafting exercise. All we have to do is take it from published to hidden, and now the students don't see it. It's still there, you can work on it, you can edit it, but it's not visible to the students. In addition, if you wanted to add material, let's say you wanted to add a case, you scroll down and you can see that we have this create a new and all these buttons. So let's add a case. Okay, now we can, because of course, cases are open source, we can grab them from a number of sources. I've got a case ready for us here that I pulled up on Google Scholar just before we began here, which is this very important and fairly recent decision, Whole Woman's Health. And let's go ahead and let's bring it over and put it into our chart so that we have it. Now I'm going to leave out the syllabus, and instead I'm just going to start highlighting. There we go. And I won't go do the whole thing because it's a quick demonstration, but I copy, I go back to the chart, and in this big field here, I simply paste. Okay. And now I fill in the title of the case. Sorry, this is two-finger typist. Oh, I'm just going to call it Whole Woman's Health just for convenience. And we fill in the court, which would be the US Supreme Court, the case number, the decision date, and it's hidden now, but I'm going to take it and publish it just so we can see what it looks like on the other side. And we can see that just that fast, we now have this case in the chart for the students. Other things that we could add. I'm going to add a video. Scroll down, add a video, and I'll give it a title. Just call this test. And all I need to do is to go to YouTube or some other hosting source like it. And I click on share, click on embed, click copy, go back to the chart and paste it in. And now it's in the chart. It's hidden, change it to published, save, and we can see it in the student view. And it will play right here for us. All right. So that's why it is a much better tool for professors. You can make it exactly what you want, but it's also a much better tool for students, not just pedagogically, but because it will save them an enormous amount of money. Access to justice begins with access to law, and access to law depends on the affordability of course materials, among other things, for our students. For the material that is in this chart, for example, there we go. This is the cost of the material that is in this chart. If we were to go the traditional casebook route, this includes the federal rules themselves, which are built into the chart, the cases, and an examples and explanations book, which is much like our practice problems. Total is $376.59. For a chart, students pay $59. And for that, they get a 1-year subscription, which they can extend for $10 a year. And while their subscription is active, they can print or download as much of the material as they want. Hopefully you've seen that adopting and customizing a chart is really easy. And the video that I just added to our chart is testimonials from a number of charter course professors about just how easy it was for them to make the switch from a traditional casebook to using charter course. And we have charts available for professors to use, modify in almost every major course that is available in a law school, including doctrinal and non-doctrinal classes. Another nice little feature is that we're professors ourselves, and our goal here is not to get rich, that's for sure. We didn't intend to be a nonprofit necessarily, but it turned out that way. But that's because we're keeping the costs down for our students and rewarding our professors with a small royalty for the work that they do. It's not free. So unfortunately, I can't claim to be part of the free movement that we heard about, for example, from Tim Stanley yesterday. But it's probably, I think, the best combination that we can come up with of a product that gets our attention, that has sustained work put into it by law faculty, and is at a minimal cost for our students. The other thing that we can do is, if you're interested, if you just want to try it, we always offer all of our professors that they can give the subscriptions to their students for free the first time they use it. So there's no cost to the professors, no cost to the school, no cost to the students. And in addition to that, We also will provide a stipend to professors who are converting to Charter Course so that they can hire an RA to help them. And in part, that's because experience has taught, and both personal and through Charter Course, that young people sure know how to use computers better than I do, and than people my age do. I know I actually invented this system, and I know next to nothing about computers. I invented this system by drawing it on pieces of paper with pen. After having drawn charts all my teaching life and becoming ultimately too fed up with the case books, how much we were charging the students and how poor of a tool they were. I brought it to computer people and said, can you make this work on one of those computer thingies? And we made it easy enough so that even I could operate it. However, for students, it's completely instinctive. And it really helps to have a student assistant when you're like me and you're pressing buttons and hoping for the best. I would love to talk to you more about Charter Course. Chances are, for some of you, we're already being used in your school by some of your faculty. If you have any questions about it at all, please just get in touch. And I will stop sharing my screen now. And I'll put in the chat my email in case anybody wants to reach me. Do that now. So it's $59 per course for the students. Yes. Yep, that's absolutely right. And
that was great,
okay.
Mark. I love your interface. It's very slick, and I agree on intuitive. I love flowcharts and JavaScript.
Yeah. Well, it's great because the truth is that, at least for me and for many other law faculty, the reason that we learned law as we did, and presumably did well in law school, is because we learned to think systematically about the material that we were learning. We learned to see, as you can here, both the forest and the trees, right? So that when we're...
You hope they learned that. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. But you can see, here, for instance, minimum contacts doctrine. What does this have to do with anything? A lot of it is how a lot of first-year students in particular feel about law school. It's almost like being in a meteor shower. There are all these distinct points of light flying by, and there's no connection between them. And you can't tell what's important and what's not. It raises, for the students, considerable anxiety, which gets in the way of learning. But to be able to see, when you're looking at the minimum contacts doctrine, to be able to, why are we talking about it? Oh, right, it's part of personal jurisdiction, which is part of jurisdiction in venue. And there are other types of personal jurisdiction as well, right? And we can keep them straight in our minds. And that's different than subject matter jurisdiction, that kind of thing. I don't teach civil procedure myself. I'm a property guy. I have a property chart. We have charts in almost any class you can think of.
Hey, I got a question. It's not in the chat, but it's offline. What about intellectual property issues? If somebody edits up one of your charts for giving to your students, how do you negotiate sort of the who owns what sort of problem?
Sure. Well, so all of the material that's used by different professors in Charter Course it is up to each professor whether or not they want to make that material available to other professors, right? So within Charter Course, each professor makes their own decision about how much they'd like to share. And the truth has been that almost everybody shares everything. And you can import material from other professors into your chart with one click of a button once you decide you want it. With regard to material that is not within Charter Course, so for instance, law review articles or videos or something like that. We simply ask that you obtain the permission of the copyright owner to use it. One thing that we found that has been very true is that most people are very eager to share. You know, academics will understand this. If you ask for one law review article from a professor, you get 7, along with an argument about why they all should be used, right? So we've never had a problem there. We also have a special license agreement set up with the Uniform Law Commissioners so that we can use things like the restatements in the charts. We have a license deal with them. So we take care of that on our end. And I should add, and again, I don't want to, this is not a mercenary thing, but the truth is that as a charter course professor, as an adopter, or as an author of a chart, you do receive royalties because we want to reflect the value to the extent we can, the value of the work that we put in. So, yeah.
No, I don't disagree. People should be paid for their work. There should be a metric or some sort of signaling. The market needs signals to tell people
Yes.
how they're doing, and you provide that through the royalties.
Yeah. As a professor who taught for many years in Eastern Europe, former communist Eastern Europe, I became a convert to the market as an indicator of value, I must say. Certainly people who lived under the communist system were. Not that there's anything wrong with the free stuff. And in fact, I think it's wonderful. I wish we could be free. We're as close as we can be and still rewarding professors for their work and covering our costs.
Yeah, it's all business models. There's always a business model. Even free is a business model. Somebody's paying for something to get something done. I know you said you're not a computer guy, but the techie people want to know. Do you have any idea what the underlying tech is that Charter Course is built on?
Yeah, it's funny that you should ask. It's actually this version that I was just showing you is built actually on WordPress, believe it or not.
Oh my gosh, it's a plugin or it's a custom plugin?
Custom plugin, but we're actually we're migrating actually even this week to our own system so that we don't have to worry about WordPress upgrades and things like that. So we're going to actually, it's been great. We've used it for 6 years, but we've gotten too big now. We've got too many charts, too many professors. It's getting a little messy. So we created our own custom system that we're moving to.
Wow. So written from scratch in some sort of JavaScript framework.
Yep, exactly. And again, I'm not a computer guy, but the computer guys who we hire tell me it's going to be great.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. But it's been seamless so far. And by doing this switch, we've been able to add the quiz taking function so that if professors want to use the charts to give assessments, they're able to do it.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you very much. That was a good talk. And folks, you've got his email address if you want to contact him. Actually, that's the last question is, so do they just go to the website and sign up, or should they email you first to sign up to use?
Well, it's probably easier for a professor to email me first. You can contact me through the website, or you can just email me at mark.edwards@chartercourse.com. And we'll get you set up. And there's obviously no obligations involved or anything, but it will give me a chance if you're interested. I can talk to you a little bit more about it, show you the system a little bit more, and we can go from there.
Very good. Thank you so much. I appreciate your sponsorship.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye now.